Hey Mallards, it is Friday. It's Friday, right? Is that right? Okay, it's Friday. And
today we're gonna have stuffed peppers. Are you excited, Mallory?
I am excited. I love stuffed peppers. It is my favorite. I really do love stuffed peppers. Megan is cooking. We just finished recording 40-Minute Fridays.
So link it below.
I will. I will link the RSS feed so you can copy and paste that into your podcatcher and listen to 40-Minute Fridays. The other thing that I want to talk about, today I got to see another show by the students at Montverde.
That's true.
Which was really exciting. Yesterday, I was supposed to go with Megan and Amanda and Mel and go see
until you said that right now, and I'm so upset.
And go see the Montverde kids do my favorite Shakespeare show, 12th Night. Unfortunately,
big bummer.
Yeah, big bummer. It got canceled.
Boo. But also safe.
Yeah, which was sad. And I know was also sad for the students, was especially sad for the ones who are graduating because this was it, their final performance. But I'm really glad that during Mamma Mia, they did a whole senior presentation thing, and I feel like they got that. And they did that because Mamma Mia had a huge cast. Basically, everyone was in it, and 12th Night was much smaller, so I think they did that because all of the seniors were involved, and maybe not everyone would be as involved in this. But tonight, they did a reading, an online reading of a new show, and I don't mean just a new show that they're doing. I mean, the show itself is new. It's called Noises.
And the kids helped create it?
Yeah, the kids worked with the writers to workshop it.
Cool. Like, that would be so fun. Like, I would have loved that as a high schooler, and I would love it now as a playwright to, like, help kids do that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That sounds so fun.
It sounds so fun.
Not
I'm
to plug ourselves.
really into it. Yeah,
but
we're
so
available.
Fun. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, writing collaboratively is our favorite thing to do. I really like it.
I
really
really
do stuff.
enjoyed the way this was created. It definitely makes me want to do something like that. I also enjoyed this show itself. They did a fantastic job with this piece. It's a heavy piece. It's about depression and suicide in teenagers. They did it the right way. They also discussed
anxiety too.
Yeah, and anxiety. They also discussed during the writer talk back how much the kids hate Dear Evan Hansen, which we agree with.
They didn't call it Dear Evan Hansen, but it was definitely Dear Evan Hansen.
It was Dear Evan Hansen. We liked that it came out of a place of wanting better representation, and you can see that in the way that this was done. It's a heavy topic, but they tackle heavy topics often, and they did this quite well. Also, doing a staged reading through Zoom that has, the noises were a classic chorus, like in the Greek sense of a chorus, and doing that through Zoom produces an effect that I think is completely different than what they want to create on stage.
But could be what they created on stage with pre-recorded
really cool.
and reverb and all of that jazz. You could put a delay on stuff,
because they were delayed, so instead of being in sync, which is where usually the chorus is, they were a little bit off, and that was actually a neat effect. The other thing that's really cool about Zoom, I'm going to step back away from the sizzling meat here. The other thing that was cool about Zoom is that they were only showing the characters who were performing at each time. So when the chorus came in and all the noises, it went from like 3 faces on the screen to like fill up the whole screen with all the tiny boxes of all of the performers. And that was disconcerting to watch in the best way. Like, you suddenly felt like those characters' heads were filling up with all of this noise, and your screen was filling up with all this noise.
Like the main characters were getting smaller.
And that was a really neat visual. So I think that this medium actually did them a good service doing it this way, and I liked that a lot. And it was overall just very, very well done. You can tell that they've been working on it for a while and that they put a lot of effort into this. I can't wait to see it staged. It's one of their shows for next year.
When you talked about representation too, I think it's important that they handled representation of ageism, essentially, because that's one of the categories of misrepresentation that I feel like isn't talked about quite as much, but the ageist tones of adults working with stories about teenagers and making them too dark, and also stories about teenagers and making them wrap up with a happy ending and just not be realistic. There was a lot of talk tonight about realism in this sort of thing, and it being like how attainable is realism and how realistic is realistic, and that the kids wanted it to feel real. And I think that was a real age representation as opposed to a real mental health representation. They weren't saying that plays about mental health don't exist in a representative way. They were saying like that genuine teenage experience was hard to find, and I think they hit the nail on the head. Yeah, with it.
I would agree. I think that it was really, really well done. There were some characters that I really enjoyed. There is a character who is entirely silent. She is in the script messaging on a computer, but because they're using their computers to do the show, she had a phone in front of her where she is texting someone, and that character does not speak. There is a member of the chorus that is her texts as they're being sent, and then she's live interacting with her sister, but all she does is nod or shake her head or shrug or indicate things. And I thought that was a really cool representation, and she has only one line in the show, and it's at the end when all the noises and stillness are debating, and she says something about not being silent. And I thought that made it really powerful, and I liked that dynamic.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the way the show wrapped up as well. It's a pretty short show. Also, I believe that you can still watch it back because it was live on Facebook. So this is a unique opportunity. You guys can actually watch this show that I gush about, which has not been the case with the other Montverde shows. So I will find out if you can. And assuming you can, I'll link it down there so you guys can check this out. The other thing that I would like to do, because it's necessary for me, is to call out Valerie, who is the stage manager and one of my favorite humans, and her amazing braid in this show.
Yeah, Mallory was desperately trying to get me to see Valerie's braid, but I wasn't looking at the right time, essentially. But yeah, and Valerie read stage directions, right?
Yes.
Which is a unique opportunity for a stage manager to be like...
part of the show.
And I don't know if Valerie was like, oh, cool, what an opportunity, or if she was nervous, or like what the vibe was with that. But I thought that they were very well read. We do a lot of stage shootings with 10-Minute Tuesdays, and like hear a lot of people read stage direction, and like she did a really good job. It got the point across. It told you who characters were, but it wasn't every little bit. It didn't feel like stage direction was interrupting. It felt rehearsed in the right way.
Yeah.
How much she
they
was
clearly
saying.
had like worked on that, and that was really good.
Yeah, and figured out which stage direction needed to come across in the Zoom, which made the Zoom feel really well produced. It felt like people knew to wait for each other, and when they didn't wait for each other, it was a choice, not an accident, and so I really appreciated that.
Which was really nice.
Yeah.
Another thing that should be mentioned about the Zoom call, this has nothing to do with the kids' performances or
Are you
any
going
of
to talk
that.
about Aiden's body disappearing?
I am going to talk about Aiden's body disappearing.
I don't know.
So one of the things about Zoom is that they all did this green screen background, so you're not seeing all the individual places that the students are, which I thought was great. It's a great idea, and it works really well, and Zoom has the interface to do that, but it's not perfect, and so if you match too closely with your background, you can disappear. And so Aiden is wearing a dark shirt, clearly in front of a dark background, and so parts of his body kept disappearing, which I thought was just funny. And it's just one of those little quirks that's enjoyable. It's not necessarily bad. Some of the kids looked like they were wearing hoodies because it couldn't well define their hair around the edges.
Yeah, get pink hair, all of you. That's the takeaway.
That's true. If you had pink hair like Megan, it wouldn't be an issue. And so that was fun. It's fun to see the little quirks. It was really nice, too, to have all of the comments streaming, because that's something that we really enjoyed with the Ophelia staged reading that you don't normally get, which is like instant feedback from the audience, which was really cool.
And like a lot of that feedback isn't feedback, right? It's just praise. But that praise is something that people forget during especially workshops of things.
Yeah.
Which like Ophelia was also very much a workshop of something. So knowing that this isn't the final product and being able to get that positive praise anyway, not all constructive criticism,
is really nice.
Is so great.
Yeah, it is really, really nice.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, that is strange, I think, in this Zoom, like, Facebook Live platform is the curtain call. Like, there is no applause. And definitely all the students, like, they brought them back on for the curtain call, and we were clapping.
Yeah.
But they're just like...
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
It's weird you don't have that energy to feed off
The
of.
live streams that we've watched of, like, concerts have been like that, where our friend Lauren keeps saying, like, woo, every time she finishes a song, because she's like, oh, I need to applaud myself, or like it feels weird to just finish the song and be like,
all right, goodbye.
the next one is like, so yeah, it'll be interesting too to hear audiences like react verbally to that show for the first time, in the same way that like for Ophelia, something we didn't get out of our workshop because it was online was knowing when to hold for laughs, when to hold for applause, what lines we thought were funny weren't funny. So I think that it's interesting to get this specific type of feedback, and in no way replaces doing a live show. So it's just a unique opportunity.
And so we're looking forward to like maybe doing a small workshop of Ophelia in front of some select live audience so that we can get that feedback.
And like we're looking forward to seeing Montverde's show actually in person and seeing how the audience reacts to things, seeing how things change. Because the writers then did a talk at the end where they talked about like the show and their writing process and how they're now going to make some changes to it. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it changes. But we had a good night. Megan's going to make some food, and I'll see you tomorrow.